Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jack's tranquility, Audra's agonizing reminder, and Nick's quest. Spoilers for Friday, October 17th, 2025 are available for the young and the restless. Fans should anticipate that Nick Newman will look for solutions. Audra Charles receives a distressing reminder of her history. Additionally, Jack Abbott makes amends with Jason Thompson's character Billy Abbott. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. The Search of Nick Newman. Let's begin with Noah Newman, who will have surgery and be placed in a medically induced coma. However, Detective Burrows said it appeared like someone had run Noah off the road and simply continued on when he spoke with Nick and Sharon Newman. This is when the intriguing part comes in. Audra previously said she was afraid of Holden's risky fun. Claire Grace Newman then brought up the fact that Holden was driving really fast the other night. Is it possible that Holden hurt Noah and continued to drive? Read more. Discover the events of YNR's most recent episode. Either way, Nick will look for answers. It was clear from the expression in Nick's eyes that someone had singled out his son. Nick will therefore share this knowledge with Victor Newman in an attempt to identify the culprit. Jack Abbott provides clarity. He attempts to make amends with Billy over with Jack. But Billy has always had anger management problems, been impulsive, and been extremely entitled. Billy needs to listen to Jack and just relax. After all, if they all cooperate, they have a better chance of defeating Kane Ashby. I wonder what this means for the companies now that Kane is attempting to mend his reputation. Read this. YNR early week spoilers for October 20th to 24th. Kane tempted, Claire in danger, and Victoria's chase. Audra Charles's upsetting reminding. According to Friday, October 17th spoilers for the young and the restless, Audra will be given a distressing reminder of her past. Audra may find out that Noah was involved in a terrible collision at this point. Despite their lengthy breakup, Audra always seemed to care about him when they were together. So, will she feel pressured to travel to Los Angeles? She could be expelled from that hospital immediately if she did. The danger of Claire Grace Newman. Additionally, even while Holden enjoys living life on the fast lane, Claire can experience difficulties. If she hasn't already, could she end up in a scenario that she would later regret? Clearing the air, looking for answers, and remembering the painful past. Spoilers for Friday, October 17th episode of The Young and the Restless hint to some shocking developments in Genoa City. A character receives a harsh reminder of their history. Two siblings make amends, and someone looks for answers. What can we expect from Friday's performance? It's time to find out. The Abbott boys make things clear. According to Friday, October 17th spoilers for The Young and the Restless, Jack Abbott will make amends with Billy Abbott. This is fantastic news. But does it also mean that Jack will once more agree to provide funding for Abbott Communications? Jill Abbott made an offer to invest in the business, but she made it clear to Sally Spectra that she would not speak to Billy about it. Nevertheless, Sally confided with her partner, since she didn't want secrets in their relationship. Will Billy approach Jack to try to persuade him to reverse his decision to withdraw funds? Billy appeared certain that he didn't want his mom as an investment, given their previous working relationship. Read this. Claire's scathing reality check strikes hard. Kyle's obsession backfires. Nick Newman's research. Nick Newman will travel to Los Angeles to look for answers to his many questions about Noah Newman's accident. Will he collaborate with Detective Burrow to learn more about Noah's vehicle accident and whether there was any suspicious activity involved? Audra Charles's upsetting memories. Last but not least, Friday spoilers for The Young and the Restless suggest that Audra Charles will be given a distressing reminder of her past. What might this have to do with? Will Audra experience envy if she witnesses Nate Hastings connecting with Victoria Newman? Her failed relationship with him has left her feeling deeply hurt. However, given how much fans enjoy YNR's Friday cliffhangers, might we see another debut? According to rumors, Roger Howarth's new character on the show is none other than Tucker McCall. Could Audra's painful remembrance be a hint that Tucker will make a comeback in the episode airing on October 17th? The Young and the Restless October 17th, 2025 episode was a potent blend of heartache, suspense, and long-awaited emotional closure. 3 narratives developed throughout the show, all of which revolved around the main themes of unwavering pursuit of truth, past regrets, and familial loyalty. A darker undercurrent that could rock Genoa City to its foundation was exposed by Nick Newman's desperate search for answers after his son's terrible accident. Audra Charles, meantime, had to face the emotional wounds she had been trying so hard to hide after being painfully reminded of her history. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott's effort to make amends with his brother Billy turned into a pivotal moment of reconciliation, or maybe the quiet before a storm. When taken as a whole, these strands depicted a community where love becomes rivalry, history repeats itself, and redemption is never far away. Nick Newman's search, the tipping point for a father. The past several weeks have been an emotional furnace for Nick Newman. Following his son Noah's terrible vehicle accident, which left him on the brink of death, Nick's perspective changed when Detective Burrows disclosed that the collision may not have been an accident at all. Years of suffering, grief, and heartache solidified into unadulterated resolve. Justice and possibly retribution were now at stake, in addition to Noah's physical recuperation. Nick became enraged when Burrows clarified that the evidence indicated someone intentionally ran Noah off the road. The same protective impulses that had characterized him since he was a young boy and was the son of Victor Newman returned with a vengeance. Family has always been very important to Nick. From Cassie's passing to Faith's near-fatal accident, to Sharon's struggles and now to Noah's, he has witnessed far too many loved ones torn apart by lying, manipulation, and tragedy. Nick was pushed beyond his breaking point simply by the thought that someone would purposefully hurt his son. There was an electrifying tension in the scene where Nick told Victor this knowledge. A father and son bound by blood, but separated by pride and moral convictions, their relationship has always been complex. Ever the patriarch, Victor seized the initiative right away and proposed that they employ Newman resources to find the culprit. But Nick wanted the truth, no matter how messy, sensitive, or risky it could be. He wasn't only interested in corporate efficiency. Who caused Noah's accident is the straightforward but combustible question that hangs over this plot. Holden Novak, the mysterious character who has been circling Claire Grace Newman's plot for weeks, is the target of the hints. Holden was driving dangerously fast the night of the collision, according to Claire, and Audra previously said that she was afraid of Holden's definition of fun. It is possible that these coincidences are not coincidental. An epic confrontation is set up if Holden caused the crash, whether on purpose or unintentionally. If Nick finds out that his kid is in danger, his protective rage might quickly become deadly. With Holden's connection to Claire, this could throw the whole Newman family into disarray. Furthermore, if Holden's carelessness was caused by drugs, alcohol, or an emotional outburst, it can have a cascading effect on several families. In addition to the investigation, Nick's internal conflict grew more intense. He has always been the moral compass of the Newman household, striking a balance between compassion and Victor's vicious ambition. He could be pushed toward the darker side of his ancestry, though by this circumstance, sometimes getting revenge necessitates going beyond boundaries, as Victor and Adam frequently remind him. But would Nick eventually be able to live alone? In these scenes, Sharon provided a more subdued contrast, representing the emotional weariness of a mother witnessing her son's suffering. Every tearful glance toward Noah's hospital bed revealed her heartbreak and grief. Sharon prayed as Nick raged. Fans were reminded of why Nick and Sharon have always been one of Genoa City's most complicated couples by the difference between their coping strategies. Nick's action-driven rage and Sharon's introspective sadness. However, it might be Sharon's voice of reason that eventually prevents Nick from killing himself in the midst of the chaos. She added emotional grounding by pleading for patience and for not becoming a vigilante, but rather for trusting the authorities. However, history has demonstrated that reason tends to wane when a Newman's family is at danger. Nick's search for answers had already taken on a life of its own by the end of the episode. The plot was developing toward something significant, whether he was pursuing leads with Detective Burrows or having private but intense conversations with Victor. It wasn't just about who had harmed Noah. It was also about Nick's identity being put to the test. Would he eventually embrace the vicious streak that runs in his family's blood, or would he continue to be the moral Newman? The sad reminder of Audra Charles, a past that won't be forgotten. Audra Charles's plot was about memory and consequence, whereas Nick's was about rage and justice. Deep emotional traumas have always been concealed by Audra's exterior bravado. That self-assured facade started to crumble when she learned of Noah's injury. Audra and Noah had formerly enjoyed a strong but turbulent relationship. Despite their intense love, their relationship was poisonous and tarnished by distrust and ambition. Not out of love, but rather because of unresolved remorse and regret. Audra's heart remained attached to him even after she had moved on. Audra's reaction to hearing of Noah's medically induced coma was complex. Her face flashed with shock, shame, anguish, and nostalgia. This was important for someone as restrained as Audra. Not only was Noah's accident the subject of her painful reminder, but it also included all the bridges she had destroyed and the people she had impacted with her strategic desire. Audra's life has already begun to fall apart in recent months. She was emotionally exposed after her split from Nate Hastings. It has been a constant reminder of what Victoria Newman lost and how easily she can be replaced to see him get closer to her. Now that Noah is in a hospital bed, unconscious, the ghosts of her past are returning to torment her. Subtle moments, rather than large gestures, are where Audra's plot finds its emotional depth. Her shaky hand as she attempted to call the hospital, her decision to hang up before the connection connected, and her peek at Noah's picture on her phone all demonstrated the anguish she was going through. Although pain has a way of resurrecting old scars, she is not the same person she was when she abandoned Noah. It is still unclear if she will travel to Los Angeles. Fans should anticipate a heated argument if she does, possibly with Sharon, who never showed forgiveness for Audra's treatment of Noah. Audra's guilt-driven yearning for closure would be in stark contrast to Sharon's maternal inclinations. This kind of unadulterated emotional tension has the potential to rank among the season's most memorable scenes. However, there's another viewpoint to take into account. What if Tucker McCall is also the subject of Audra's painful reminder in addition to Noah? Roger Howarth's appearance in the show as a different Tucker has been the subject of rumors. If that's the case, Audra may soon have to deal with the man who once guided her and then turned on her. Audra would have to replay the deceptive games that helped mold her into the person she is today if Tucker were to reemerge. Tucker and Audra's relationship has always been intriguing. He helped her develop her commercial skills and taught her how to use brains and charm as weapons. But in the process, he also took away her empathy and innocence. The emotional repercussions of his homecoming might be disastrous and life-altering. After years of defining herself by control, a woman may finally be freed or completely destroyed by confronting her history. In the end, Audra's agonizing reminder is about accepting moral, romantic, and emotional repercussions. Her long-standing armor of ambition was broken in this episode. How she responds to the anguish will determine whether it pushes her closer to manipulation or toward redemption. And nothing is ever easy with Audra. Piece of Jack Abbott, brothers at a turning point. The Abbotts were searching for peace or the appearance of it, while the others were drowning in chaos. For many years, Jack and Billy Abbott have been at odds over a variety of issues, including love, loyalty, and business. However, their relationship has always remained strong in spite of their disagreements. The young and the restless occasionally pauses to examine emotional reality, and this episode's Jack's attempt to make amends with Billy was one of those thoughtful moments. Following weeks of conflict involving Jabot, Abbott communications, and Billy's snap decisions, Jack made an attempt to mend fences. It was a gesture of wisdom, the type that only comes after years of making mistakes, rather than weakness. History was woven into the brothers' discussion. While respecting Billy's passion, Jack spoke calmly and gently reminded him of the mayhem that sometimes results from making snap decisions. Initially defensive, Billy found himself reverting to his old habits of interrupting, diverting, and pushing back. But underneath his rage was weakness. Billy has always had trouble feeling his older brother sees him and respects him. With Jack as the responsible party and Billy as the careless idealist, every argument seems to be a rerun of their early years. But Jack declined to play that game this time. He took responsibility for his errors, acknowledged that he could have been too strict, and volunteered to try to reach a compromise. Jack's tone of maturity changed the dynamic, making Billy perceive him as an ally rather than a barrier. Whether Jack would reinvest in Abbott communications was the main topic of their conversation. Ever the ambitious one, Billy desired independence, particularly after she had covertly offered Sally Spectra a share in the business. He didn't want to answer to Jill. Sally, who was caught in the middle, had previously told Billy everything, preferring to be honest rather than keep things secret. Although the confession was admirable, it also brought up previous issues of betrayal and trust. For Jack, the problem was personal as well as financial. Though he is aware of Billy's intelligence, he worries about his carelessness. Jack's peace offering was based on faith rather than money. In what could end up being one of the episode's pivotal quotes, he stated, "We've been through too much to let pride destroy us again." In a larger sense, this instance represented something uncommon in Genoa City: sincere forgiveness. After years of sibling rivalry, heartache, and deception, the Abbotts were at last making an effort to move on. Peace in this community, however, is never long-lasting. Jack's propensity for micromanaging and Billy's restlessness may easily rekindle the fire. Nevertheless, audiences witnessed for a brief moment what healing looks like when two men choose family over ego. The Web of Consequences and Claire Grace Newman's Danger. The emotional link between the mystery of Holden Novak's past and Claire Grace Newman lingered on the brink of multiple plots. Despite the main focus being on Nick, Audra, and Jack, her scenes made the episode more vulnerable and suspenseful. After the turmoil caused by the murders committed by her original family, Claire has been working to put her life back together, but Holden's carelessness threatens to pull her back into the shadows. Claire's whole story of redemption might come to an end if Holden was indeed responsible for Noah's accident. She has spent months attempting to demonstrate that she is not like her unstable relatives or her manipulative mother, Jordan. However, all of that progress could be reversed by love or even attachment to a dangerous man like Holden. Heartbreaking intricacy is added by the possibility that Claire may be unwittingly shielding the individual who caused Noah's crash. In addition, Claire and Nick's conflict is set to worsen. Nick has been cautiously supportive of Claire's healing attempts, but that brittle trust will be broken if her boyfriend is connected to Noah's misery. Considering Sharon's protective tendencies toward Claire and her kids, this might rekindle her maternal rage. The episode is tied together thematically by Claire's possible involvement. The theme that unites Jack's reconciliation, Audra's guilt, and Nick's pursuit of justice is confronting the truth, no matter how unpleasant it may be. That reality is reflected in Claire's plot. Sometimes atonement has a cost, and even the best of intentions cannot change the past. A town at risk, intertwined threads. Genoa City's emotional landscape seemed like a powder keg by the end of the episode. Even though Nick's inquiry was just getting started, his rage was evident. Ghosts that Audra believed she had buried were causing her to lose her composure. Before new conflicts break up, Jack and Billy's truce provided a brief period of serenity. Additionally, Holden Novak's name lurked in the shadows like a curse, a ticking time bomb that was just waiting to explode. The young and the restless ability to transform individual suffering into societal repercussions is what gives it such longevity. Even though the characters weren't on the same screen, every plot point in this episode had an emotional and thematic connection. Nick's search for the truth paralleled Audra's introspection. The redemption arcs that others are still searching for were echoed by Jack's tranquility. Every character had to confront a reckoning in their own unique way, a time when their previous decisions clashed with the present. The subdued presence of Victor Newman also loomed huge. He suggested that he might take over Nick's research and turn it into a business quest for justice by subtly gathering resources behind the scenes. And that could be the difference between the truth and a cover-up, as devoted fans are aware. Conclusion: the structure of an emotional reconciliation. The October 17th, 2025 episode of The Young and the Restless demonstrated that the program can still hit all the right notes even after decades of airing. The show has always relied on emotional honesty. High-stakes drama and contemplative reality were balanced by Nick's rage, Audra's heartache, and Jack's hard-won serenity. We witnessed the unadulterated, unrefined love of a father who had been pushed to the limit in Nick. We saw the eerie force of remorse and remembrance in Audra. Additionally, Jack demonstrated the power of forgiveness, serving as a reminder that redemption is still possible even in a town where betrayal is the norm. Perhaps the most important lesson learned, though, is that calm in Genoa City is never permanent. Every act of love has the shadow of loss. Every reconciliation conceals unresolved tension, and every quiet moment conceals an impending storm. The Young and the Restless is still as emotionally compelling and philosophically complex as ever, reflecting how even the strongest hearts can shatter, mend, and break again. This is evident as Nick continues his search, Audra confronts her past, and Jack attempts to keep his family together.